Welcome to another live reaction, week 5 of the spring 2019 anime season, and we're looking at probably my favorite show of the season so far, Sarazanmai, the Kunihiko Ikuhara show that somehow has just gotten weirder and weirder every single week, and we're somehow still not completely done with its weirdness because we're only 5 episodes in, and the show just seems to be getting more and more thematic and just richly layered and just talking about all kinds of stuff that we normally don't see shows talking about. So you can't really ask for much better than this. So without further ado, let's get started. Very interesting that he chose to interpret it that way. I don't know why you would interpret it that way. Maybe it was a translation error. I'm definitely going to get yelled at in the comments for not knowing exactly what he was talking about. But for sure, there are a couple ways you could interpret that, right? I don't know why he would interpret it that that was the occasion. For me, when I read that, I interpreted it as Haruka being from a different father or something like that. That could be a cultural thing, I don't know, but definitely kind of weird that he interpreted it like that. But that does explain why he hates his little brother. It doesn't explain a whole bunch of other stuff that we will get to later, but for sure it explains one of the things. So yeah, I'll take that explanation. Let's see what the rest of the episode is about. Okay, so just because he said connected. I hadn't been paying attention to the episode names until today, so I thought it would be interesting to note that all the episode names are related in some way to connection, right? And we've kind of addressed this theme in the past. The whole show is about connecting with people, wanting to connect with people, being unable to connect with people. And every episode name, if you were watching this on Crunchyroll, you would know this already. It would be super obvious to you. Every single episode name is some version of I want to connect, but I want to connect, but I want to be connected, but. So in this episode, we get the theme of he wants to be connected, but this isn't even his real family, right? And this seems like one of those things that you can't just overcome through sheer willpower or whatever it is. I don't know how they're going to address this. We don't really get to hear that much about adopted siblings. So I wonder if it's going to be one of those things where they didn't want to tell him because of something painful in his past, or if it's more along the lines of he's not really adopted and he's just thinking that, because we have definitely seen that trope before in media, when somebody thinks they're adopted but they're not really adopted. As always, fun themes that this show plays with. Let's go. First of all, can we start with how crazy it is that he's trying to kidnap a known celebrity from a building in broad daylight in public? He's not the smartest of cookies, you know. He's not the crunchiest cookie in the box or whatever you say. And the blue-haired boy is just going along with him for some reason. I don't know why. I guess he just wants to let him know that he's there for him, because I think he expects that the main character boy he wants him to be forgiven for he knows that he killed a person from the Sarazanmai in the previous episode. But he doesn't want to be judged for that, so I think that's the only reason why he's helping him here. This seems like it's going to lead into some hijinks, and I always like hijinks, so let's go. This is really funny, because one of the tropes in adopted father, brother, sister, mother, whatever things is even if I'm not your real relative, I'm like your real relative in that I've been there the whole time. So it's kind of like you prefer that to somebody who's biologically related to you but was never there for you. A similar thing to this is I just recently watched Hunter x Hunter. That's why I remember this. It's Gon's mother. He doesn't really care about her at the very beginning of the show. He's like, I really don't want to know who she is. But he's so obsessed with his father, even though they both were equally absent in his life. So it's just kind of curious that he thinks of his brother as someone that he's connected to, if not for real. Whereas this is probably the most real connection that he has in his life, but he doesn't think of it that way. So that's kind of cool. Okay. His name is exactly Nice Smelling Pouch. That's his name exactly. This show is weirdly on the nose with its puns and double entendres and stuff, but because I don't know Japanese, I don't catch them at all. So I've only been told about this, later in the comments by people who know more about this than me. I'd be curious to know what kind of pun this is. Someone told me that soba means to stand next to or to stand together with, so that put that whole episode with the soba in a whole new context for me from last week. Someone please let me know what sachet the the pun for sachet is, because I'd be interested to know. It really helps to like understand the depth of the show and what they're going for thematically with each episode when you understand the central pun of the episode, which I'm unable to do because I don't know Japanese. So thank you in advance for that. Interesting, because I haven't talked about this before. I thought I'd address it. There's so much to talk about with this show that really I have no problem just finding new stuff to talk about every episode, which isn't the case for some other shows this season. They've been doing this since the beginning. They always show the phone as like the instrument of the like otter symbol love thing that they do. They're converting desire into love or love into desire, or they're turning desire away from love or love away from desire, or the two are somehow connected and they're converting one into the other somehow. We don't really know how. But when they do that, they always show like a digital device, like a phone. Mostly it's been phones so far. And I wonder why they chose to do that, because after this whole song and dance sequence, we do see the creature that the desire turns into like being beamed down from above, kind of in a Digimon-esque like digital nonsense kind of way. And the whole intent of that like visual is to show you that it's digital somehow. I wonder why they choose to do it that way, because what is it about the digitality of that desire or love that they're extracting that's significant? Like, why is it digital? Why is that important? Because remember, when these are the bad guys, the police guys are the bad guys. Is the message that when they convert this, they're trying to portray it as a digital type thing, and that's what's bad? Or is it that the desire itself is like inspired by digital motivations and that's what's bad? I think those are both kind of likely. We'll see what happens depending on how the confrontation between the Kappa boys and the policemen go like way down the line. It is only a 12 episode show, so I'm not too worried about when we're going to get to see that. But when we do eventually see that, I'd be interested to know which one of these messages they choose to go with, because one is more interesting to me than the other. I do think that people falsely portraying it as a digital caused thing is more interesting than just saying it's caused by digital things. Just because there's one more level of obscurity there, if nothing else. Now, after that complicated spiel, let's watch the policeman dance. Every episode they show the same sequence, and I keep thinking like, should I skip it to save some time? You know, I skipped the OP and the ED. But should I skip the sequence? And every time it's no, because that song is so catchy, and I don't know the lyrics. Like I said, I don't know Japanese, but I still like sing the like vague tune of the song like basically the whole week until I watch the next episode. It's a really good musical sequence, and the animation is amazing, on point. As with the rest of the show, you know, the show is consistently high quality animation. She's literally a Kappa. This whole time, she's just been a Kappa this whole time. Okay then, okay. Did they actually buy that? He looks nothing like her, dude. He didn't even put on her makeup or whatever. I thought he was going to put on more makeup. Okay, if they buy it, then I guess it can't be that much of a difference, right? So he knows. There's no way he doesn't know, because he said this is the secret phrase we're going to use, and then he says it to Sarah-chan. Does he think that his brother has been the real Sarah-chan this whole time, or does he know that his brother has been dressing up like Sarah-chan to do all this for him? That's the real question, because he definitely knows. Oh, the gig is up! The jig is up, boys and girls. Let's see what happens. Oh. Heartbroken. Heart-est broken. Oh my god, I feel bad for this little kid. No one asked his older brother to do this for him. He just did it by himself, and now he's gonna get hurt because of that. Feels really bad. Also, they just showed his dad like standing beside Haruka. He looks exactly like his dad. There's no way he's adopted. Like, there's no way. He looks the same. And it's not like some actor resemblance. They drew him to look exactly like his dad, or they drew his dad to look exactly like him. So that's clearly a plot point that's coming at some time, right? Also, imagine being exposed that you dress up as a girl on stage in front of your family. Now, you might be like, hey, I'm into that kind of stuff. But still, you know, you may not be on that good terms with your family that's okay. Cue life-ending embarrassment. Here we go. He said our secrets got outed, but I would say that Kazuki's secret got outed in a completely different way than both their secrets got outed, because nobody else but these three know about their secrets. but everyone knows that Kazuki was dressing up as Azuma Sarachan and sending pictures of himself to his brother, right? That feels like a next level type embarrassment thing. You definitely don't want your secret to get out to even your friends, but if it gets out to like public at large, that's way worse, way worse. I don't think you can compare the two. I can't say this enough. I say this every week, but I still can't say this enough. I love this animated sequence. It's so good, and the music is just as catchy as the policeman sequence. I don't really gush about music type stuff. Carol and Tuesday, I haven't gushed about any of their music so far, despite it being way more popular music-wise than this show. But the music in this show is just so catchy. I sing it all the time. Okay, so let's talk about this. Every time they extract the Shiriko Dama out of that dude's butt, the giant demon thing, they always say like some like generic, more like euphemistic way of what that dude was doing. Like the cardboard box guy, they were like, he just wants to be seen or whatever. It feels like they're kind of trying to whitewash what the thing that's happening and relate it to a more human desire. I think I've already talked about this, but like the things that they're talking about in the show are like kind of more off mainstream type desires or whatever it is, and they're trying to relate it to a more like a relatable aspect. They're trying to see like, oh, this guy just wanted to smell someone close to him. Like he's not trying to sniff lady feet and that's why he got arrested or whatever. And in that, if you look at it through that frame, there are multiple frames through which you can examine the show, right? But if you look at it through that frame, then the show kind of feels like an authoritative versus accepting type of approach to alternative desires. And this could be anything. Every show, they talk about a different, I would say, fetish. You could say whatever you want. A different type of approach to desire. And they try to relate it to a human, approachable angle that you can all relate to. And the police are doing kind of the opposite. They're trying to like extract that desire, and like the person who they arrest just ends up dead every single time. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. But it's interesting that this is the angle that the show is taking. This is only one of the interpretations. There are many, many interpretations I'm sure you could do about this, because all this is sufficiently abstract that you don't have to worry about stepping on anyone's toes textually when you're looking at the show. So that was just my idea that I had for this episode, because there's plenty to talk about with this show, so you gotta talk about something. This is the first time we've seen an alteration to the formula so far. So last time I talked about how this is such a pleasing formula where they turn into frogs and they fight the demon and they come back and they resolve their tension of the episode. This is the first time we've had a suspension of the relief of tension, right? And I think it's as important to know when the show decides not to relieve the tension as when it does. Because when it chooses not to, that means it wants to hold on some point that we aren't taking away from it, right? It wants us to hold on a point that it really wants to emphasize. And here it seems to be that Kazuki either doesn't want to accept that him and his brother are from the same mother, which is what it seems like to me. We don't know what other explanation there could be. Like I said before, his dad looks exactly like him, but that doesn't mean that his mom, or his stepmom maybe, is his actual birth mother. That need not be the case. But he did actually meet his birth mother, and she smelled like something that he was very familiar with. I wonder what we're going to find out, because this is the first time they've deviated from the formula. It's you know, it's even more important to pay attention to this episode, I think. That explains everything. Okay, so Haruka was not born handicapped. He's directly in his wheelchair because of something that he did. So his hate for Haruka is just a projection of a hate for himself. He hates himself for having made Haruka go through that. And we kind of foreshadowed this earlier in the episode when they said, I promised that I would never hurt Haruka again. And we're like, oh, it must be just kind of like he was mean to him or whatever. But new context, he's directly responsible for him being in a wheelchair. So the show is amazingly good at foreshadowing, both on a multi-episode basis and like individual episodes. Because somebody did say in the comments previously that you could tell that Haruka was in a wheelchair based on the way that they showed him from previous episodes. I just didn't pick up on it. This show definitely deserves a rewatch. Like, I feel like you could watch every episode 3 or 4 times and still come up with new stuff about the characters and about the plot and the themes and everything else. Oh, that explains a lot about his character, actually. Let's keep going. It's funny that he says this now, because if you remember when he met his birth mother, he was like, I have a family that's more real to me than my biological family, right? But now he's like, I'll stay with my Nisemono family, my fake family. It's interesting to see that that flipped for him, and he feels like he's not part of this family, not because like he needs to go back to his biological family. It's like he betrayed them. He like actively ruined their life, so he feels like he doesn't deserve to be part of it. That's why they're fake to him. At least that's my theory anyway. A bit on the nose, but the voice acting is amazing in this scene, so I'll take it. You know, like any kind of good voice performance, I'll take that, even if it's like it's kind of like self-realizations expressed through dialogue, never come across as genuine. Really, it's always a like fine knife's edge balancing line you have to walk. I do think they did this well, but it just feels a little bit on the nose. Name of the episode: I Want to Connect, but I Can't Be Forgiven. Wow, if we had seen that coming, right? There's no way we could have seen it coming, though. Well, I'll be proven wrong by someone in the comments saying, yeah, you definitely could have seen it coming. Let me have it. Let me have it down in the comments. So that was episode 5. Somehow the show got even better in episode 5 than it was the previous 4 episodes. Thematic resonance just everywhere. Every single episode, they hammer in the theme of want to be connected, want to do this, want to do that, desires. There's so many themes in this show. It's hard to talk about. The execution of the show is next level. The whole setting, Asakusa as a setting is just amazing. And that last sequence when he walked across the street, the crossing lights were little paper lanterns because the whole city is just weirdly religious. I'm gathering. The show is just next level. I really don't know any other way to put it. Maybe people who have watched extensively this director's like previous works will get it in a way that I don't. I'm just a newbie trying to keep pace with all the stuff that's happening in the show. This episode definitely set the stage for the next couple of episodes because there's still Kappa at the end of it. The tension was not resolved because the tension in his life is not resolved. We're cutting deeper and deeper into these characters, and we've now reached a point where we're so deep into Kazuki that we're at the stuff that's at the core of his like whole persona, right? And if this is where we're going with the other characters too, I don't even want to think about how deep this show is going to go because I don't think I can handle it. My brain will blow up by that point. The show is amazing. The whole way they revealed it, the whole way they set up that he's not from his birth mother, and for me at least, I was probably thinking too deep into it. That's probably why. I thought he was gonna get pushed back and be like, hey, you are from this family, but it turned out he's not from the family. He's from a different family. We don't know the connection between Haruka and his birth mother because he has that Nioi Bukuro in his pocket, that sachet that smells nice. But we don't. I don't even know what to say anymore. I felt like I said a lot this episode. I don't want to make this episode too long. But this show is like consistently one of the best shows of the season, which is to be expected from this director, according to people. I don't really know what else to say. I don't know where they're going to go from here. Next, it's going to be like a 2 or 3 episode arc, I'm guessing, where they have to go and defeat that demon. And with the post-credit scene in this episode, we saw a little bit more about the policemen who are in every single episode, but we don't really hear that much about what they have to do and where they're approaching things from, right? It seems like one of them has feelings for the other one, maybe, which would be just wonderful because they do that amazing dance every single episode. Great show. Episode 5, consistently as good. Not one episode has dropped off so far. Every episode just keeps building higher and higher. Episode 5, I won't say the best episode because the first episode was so good and I like it so much that I can't say episode 5 is the best episode. It's definitely a solid step forward, and I'm very, very eager to see what they do with the plot next because I definitely wasn't expecting even what we got from this so far, because if you think about it, this is the payoff for that twist at the end of the episode where they revealed that Haruka was in a wheelchair. This was the payoff for that, and that was 2 episodes ago. That was in episode 3 that they revealed that, right? They're thinking so far ahead at this point that I can't even keep track of all the stuff that they've probably foreshadowed. So yell at me in the comments, let me know what I missed. I'm sure you will anyway. So thank you for watching, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next episode.